Hey everyone, how you doing? This is Amon Green, Green Bay Packers all-time leading rusher, and you're watching Packers Total Access Live, your daily source for Packer content. Go Pack, go!
Hey, what's up, guys? Welcome into Good Morning Lambeau. My name is Clayton. You can check us out on packernet.com. Find me on Twitter at Packers_access. You can email us, PackersTotalAccess@gmail.com. You can text us 865-658-5824. Flying solo as of the moment, here to talk Packers and recap the Packers-Vikings game. Tough loss. Obviously, the Vikings come away with the 27-25 victory there in Minneapolis. We'll talk about all the key statistics. We're going to hit on the chat heavy this morning. I want to see what the fan base thinks about this game and kind of moving forward for the Packers as well. It's going to be a fun show. We're going to walk through social media. We'll give you an updated playoff picture as well. And a couple other things, too, we're going to hit on maybe the PFF recap. We've got a few grades, just like 3 grades, so we don't have very many. They'll be finished for tonight's show at 7 p.m. Central. We already started breaking down the tape as well, getting ready for Chalk Talk. This one may have 25 plays. I'm at 15 plays, and we're halfway through the third quarter. But, man, every one of them are important. There's some positive in there. There's obviously some negative as well. We're going to show you what happened, why did it happen, and kind of give you a little bit better understanding, at least from the tape perspective of, hey, what happened in this game. I know we got Tim joining us from Green Bay now. Let's do this. Tim, how you doing this morning, bub? You get the diesel flowing?
Yeah, man. I'm waking up. You know,
I
was up a little late last night, trying to figure out what the hell happened to us in that ball game. And I think you're right, man. Chalk Talk's going to be interesting. Can we just do a whole Chalk Talk of Edgerrin Cooper highlights?
Exactly. And that's why this Chalk Talk's going to be so long, because there probably will be 4 Edgerrin Cooper plays in a game that we lost, right? But again, we don't want it to just be all negative. We want to show, hey, look, here's the people that shined, and we're also going to show the people that struggled. And the big thing that stood out to me, usually when I make my first pass through the notes, go back and start watching the tape, the big thing that sticks out to me, there's usually 1 or 2 things like, boy, that's tough. Obviously, the penalty there, right, where we get called, for the offsides on the field goal. Matt LaFleur's decision to go for it on 4th and short. But another big one, if I can be real, Javon Bullard on that opening drive. And again, this isn't about saying the game was lost by one person. I just gave you 3 different scenarios that played a huge role in the outcome of the game. So in no way is this guy's the reason we lost. But we've talked all year, he struggled in coverage. That's been his thing. He's awesome in run defense. The dude is very aggressive downhill. He plays like a linebacker. He really does. And that surprises me, based off of what we've seen in college, because he did look a little more balanced. And it's his rookie year. There's going to be ups and downs. But that opening drive of the third quarter, Bullard, to the best of my knowledge, and again, I've got to look at the all-22 really, really deep to get a confirmation. We will have that on Chalk Talk. On the opening drive of the third quarter, he gave up 3 plays for 55 yards plus a touchdown. And listen, it's easy to go, man, that's on Bullard. Well, yeah, but also – we got aggressive with the blitzes and put him in a one-on-one situation. If you were to say, hey, how do you feel about Bullard one-on-one with Jordan Addison? I'm going to go, whoa. You know what I mean? So it's the coaches saying, hey, let's take a shot here. Let's give our guy a shot in a one-on-one matchup. And it just didn't work out. So we'll dive in all that again on Chalk Talk. I just wanted to kind of lay out that's what I've uncovered so far. And we'll walk through social media here in a second. I want to hit the chat. So anything you mark in the chat there, Tim, that you see interesting, we'll start with Biz here. Biz 1987 says, I picked Kraft in the poll question because he did the most with his opportunities. I think that's a really, really good reason to take him. As you guys, make sure you go vote. We're voting on the PTA players, offensive players of the week. And this was tough for me, man. I was going, man, I don't even know who to put on this list, to be honest with you. Nobody really played well, right? But the options are Tucker Kraft, Josh Jacobs, Romeo Doubs, and Jordan Love. And right now, Romeo Doubs is leading the way at 50%. I like it. Tucker Kraft would probably have been my choice, although I can see Romeo Doubs because it seemed like when Jordan needed to play, Romeo was the one who stepped up, right, and made that play. So, again, those are your options for PTA Offensive Player of the Week. Make sure you get your voting.
I just caught the ball.
Who would you vote for there, Tim, between Tucker?
I'm voting for Rome, man. Come on now.
Romeo could have been blank for no catches, and Tim would have been like, yeah, let's give it to Rome. All right. Biz1987 also said, so many thoughts. Early fumble set the tone. Completely agree. Middle eight was a disaster. Completely agree. Defense getting more hurt and silly penalties in week 17 hurt us. The Zane Anderson injury, man, if you had told me in week 7 you're going to lose to the Vikings because Zane Anderson got hurt, I'd be like, what are you smoking? But it's true. It kind of felt like if he had been in the game, it probably would have played out a lot.
I think we lost because we didn't take the points. I don't think we lost because we lost the safety. I think we should have took the points. And
again, you can't control what the officials do, right? We can be pissed off about it, and believe me, Packers Twitter is hot over that botched offsides call. But like Tim said, you can control that aspect. You can control taking those points. And then on top of that, you needed 2 yards and you pass. That's just kind of salt in the wound. It's like, if you decide to go for it, right, I still disagree with the call. But if you decide to go for it and go, all right, boys, we get 2 yards here, you got a really good shot of winning the game, right? You're going to continue this drive, and who knows, maybe you get 7 or maybe you get a much, much easier field goal. Yeah. It would be a lot easier for me to stomach if it was a run and, hey, you got stuffed. Damn, they were just better than us. But when you 2 yards to go, we pass the ball, it's like I disagree with the call to go for it, and then you disagree with the call to pass. And who knows, it could have been a run and a pass called, and we canned. I don't know. I haven't got to that point yet, but it's I completely agree with what Biz is saying here, though, man. All good points for sure. Nick McSwain in the chat said, good morning, PTA. I know it was a tough loss, but the team is going to be okay. Packers have only lost 1 game by more than 5 points. Not like they're getting blown out. A couple things go our way. It's a different game. Completely agree, Nick. And in some cases, those things going our way were our own mistakes, right? In other cases, it's like, man, we just caught a tough break there. And I know there's going to be fans go, oh, that's a loser mentality. Shut up. You're not on the team. Quit acting like you're in the locker room and we're fans here, right? We're breaking down what's going on around the game. That stuff drives me crazy when people get on their soapbox. Like, you just know they were the one that was in the locker room in high school that played, 12 snaps in the game, but boy, they were the one wanting to give the rah-rah speech. You know what I'm talking about, Tim? Those dudes, they're out there by the dozen. But
the Uncle Ricos of the world, yes.
Exactly. Jared Reyes says, why is it so hard to get the ball to Tucker Kraft more? He doesn't drop the ball, and he gets open. Defenses pack the box to stop our run. And not only that, Jared, but like yesterday where you could see a lot of the concepts were trying to stretch the field. And after I slept on it, Tim, we were kind of knocking that. I was knocking. I shouldn't say we. I was knocking that. I was going, man, I'd look at those concepts and like, boy, Jordan really couldn't do anything there. Everything was covered up and they were all deep, right? But remember going into the game, we were talking about how that defense, if there was a weakness, it is that they would give up a big play, right? So maybe that's more what they played into in terms of the game plan, and you got it wrong, But what do you think there about Tucker Kraft? I agree with that, but I don't want to just throw a blanket statement out there like, we just got to get Tucker Kraft the ball more. Sometimes there's a reason he's not getting the ball more because it's within the scheme, right?
Right. I agree too. I even made that comment on the postgame last night. I thought we got to target him more. We've got to make an effort to get Tucker the ball. But every game's different. We as fans, we watch this from a whole season. We look, like it's a big long movie, and it's not. It doesn't work that way. It's week to week. It's matchup to matchup. But I do think that if you start doing that, then teams are going to scheme. They're going to scheme up for that, right? Like look at teams that play Kansas City. They know that they're going to throw the ball to Travis Kelce a lot. So they try to scheme against that. So I think I'm sure Matt LaFleur wants to get Tucker Kraft the ball, but it's a game-to-game, week-to-week kind of league. And I think, the targets come in chunks and sometimes there's very little targets. But either way, he still has an impact for this team and, for our success out there on offense, whether that's blocking or catching the ball. So I do think him being involved, though, makes us a better offense for sure.
Yeah, it definitely does, man. No doubt. So thank you for the comment there, Jared Reyes. Let's see what else we got here. Blake B says, hey, if anyone wants tickets for face value for Sunday, I have 4 of them close to the field next to the visitor Tunnel, good stuff, Blake. Do me a favor, Blake. Shoot me a text, 865-658-5824, or an email. It'd be better in a text because that'll come directly to my phone, and I'll see if I can help you get rid of those for sure. And we were thinking about going up, so there's a possible chance we could take them off your hands. But, at face value, too, I almost want to say, let me buy those and do a giveaway. I don't want to promise that, and we'll see if we can we'll see if we can help you get rid of them. Let's just put it that way. I don't want to make any empty promises here. We got a lot of stuff going on here at the house, and the process of selling the house, and the process of potentially going out of town for New Year's. So it's a little hectic here. But just like I said, shoot me a text, 865-658-5824. And that way I can get information, exact location of the tickets, all that stuff, and I'll blast it out to my friends that want to go to Packer games. So appreciate you, Blake. Thank you for thinking of us, buddy. Let's see, Nick McSwain in the chat. A big thing I noticed was Vikings wide receiver made catches in clutch situations. Packers wide receivers were dropping them. Yeah, I think that's a fair assessment, Nick. I don't think it was every single situation. I'm not saying you're saying that. I don't want to give the wrong impression here to the listeners. But yeah, and you got to listen. We've talked about this all year. Tim, we've ran victory laps. I know I have. On, man, this wide receiver room, look how cheap it is, right? They're in a single first-round pick. When you look at Jordan Addison and you look at Justin Jefferson, those two guys were legit, top of their class. And I know a lot of people, believe me, they disagree with me saying Jordan Addison was the best receiver coming out in that class in terms of my draft board. We can agree to disagree on that. Obviously, we did. But Jordan Addison on another team probably is a true number one receiver. He probably does warrant a little bracket coverage. But Justin Jefferson being on that team, obviously, he's going to get the majority of the attention. And also, you've got T.J. Hawkinson. T.J. Hawkinson, guys, if I remember correctly, was the top tight end the year he came out in the draft. So you've got the top two receivers that came out different years that were arguably the best receivers in their class, right? And you got a tight end that was the best tight end in his class. And the Vikings did not draft him, right, Tim? Didn't they trade?
Yeah, they traded for him. And I wish the Chargers would have traded for him. I don't know. He went from Detroit to Minnesota. It's like, oh, gosh.
At the time, I wish we had traded for him. When I seen what they gave up, I'm like, bro, why did we know how important tight end is in Matt LaFleur's offense? Why didn't we pull the trigger on that? But I'm glad we got Tucker Kraft instead, just being honest.
Yeah, absolutely.
I personally like Tucker better than him. I'm not saying he's a better tight end right now, but Tucker's my spirit animal. There's no doubt about it, man. So
for sure.
Appreciate the comment there, Nick. I think you make great points, but again, man, you kind of get what you pay for, right?
Yep.
And in this case, we're not getting what we paid for. What we're paying for, we should have a bottom 5 receiving core. You know what I mean? And we've really got, I think, a top 10 receiving core, maybe top 5.
It's really true. And comparison is the thief of joy, right? So sometimes when you start looking, the grass is greener on the other side, you start thinking thoughts that you shouldn't be thinking because you're absolutely right, Clayton. These guys have exceeded expectation for a very young, unheralded kind of group of receivers that are coming together. And it's going to take time. We talked about that last night, right? Yep. Before you know it, man, we've got more than one star in that receiver room. I truly believe that. Obviously, we were really missing our guy last night in Christian Watson, who would have really helped stretch that defense a little bit. But I think there's some truth to that statement that, oh well, if we had a true number one, maybe the closest that we have was not playing last night, so it showed. I think they'll bounce back.
That's the other thing too. Like, I know the pessimistic side of the fan base hate hearing this, but I'm always going to come back to center. Like, hey, what's a realistic approach to the result, win or loss, right? Win or loss.
Yep.
We were down 3 starters on defense, and arguably our best wide receiver, definitely our best home run hitter, right? Our freak on offense that kind of forces the defense to really go, all right, where's he at? Not necessarily bracket cover all the time, but we got to know where he's at, right? In Christian Watson. So when you're down that many players and you're playing a team that many believe could be the best team in the league, like they may finish with the number 1 seed in the NFC if they beat the Lions next week. And I think they've got a legit shot to beat the Lions. I really do. So you're talking about at least a top 3 team, possibly the best team in the league. You're down 3 starters on defense. You're down your freak on offense at wide receiver and Christian Watson, and you lose by 2 points. And I was listening this morning to someone on. I got to stop doing this before I go live because it turns into a rant cast every damn time. And I tell the guys, it's
stay off the damn pods.
Exactly. Before we go live, sometimes if there's something that's dramatic that's happening, I goes, guy, listen, we're not pressing into the negative. We're not going to acknowledge the trolls. We're not going to do that stuff. And it's 10 minutes into the show, I screw it up every time.
I'm just as guilty.
So, but listening to people, talk about the game, and it was, Minnesota, they really took their foot off the gas and they started kind of playing. What game are you watching?
Yeah, what are you talking about?
Like, the reason we got back in this game was because Minnesota threw on 2nd and 11 and Carrington Valentine
got picked off. Yeah. What do you
You're going to try to convince me that they just kind of laid down? You're full of crap. That's the laziest damn argument. That's the laziest stance on a game. It's like not everybody, a good chunk of sports media, they've got these, okay, if it's a loss, we're going to go to this saying. If it's a win, we're going to go to that saying. And they press into it with so much confidence. There's one dude that's on a show. You would think he knows every single thing about the game of football, the way he talks. And I'm going, you can just see right there. It's like, boy, I would love to sit down from just a good football debate right across the table from this knucklehead. I would love it. I'd love the opportunity. And I'm just a dumb redneck from Tennessee that loves football. I don't know this much about football, but it's just, oh my God, it drives me crazy. Anyway, end of rant there. So Biz, like he said, he picked Kraft in the poll because he felt like he did the most with his opportunities. I agree with that. I definitely agree with that. Tracy Westbrook says Packers are pure trash. Their head coach, you got to learn how to spell his name here, bub, a.k.a. LaFlunk, play calling in this game was horrible. All right, man. Thanks, Tracy. Appreciate you swinging through.
Stay off the damn weed.
Talking about the 9th winningest coach all time, who was supposed to just fall flat on his face once Aaron left. And, we'll just keep it moving. Perfect example.
You're trash. That's hilarious.
Yeah. It's just I got to add this.
Clearly, you haven't watched any Bears games this year.
I got to add this. I mean, the guy, what are we up to? 11 wins? We've won 11 wins. And this is the part.
Yeah, we're going to be a 12 win team after it's all said and done. So
I wish I hadn't unmarked that, right? I wish I hadn't unmarked that because you guys remember going into the season, what we try to do when training camp starts. Go, all right, let's look at the schedule. Let's look at how the roster is constructed. Let's look at all the variables and go, all right, how many games do we think we're going to win? I said, we're going to be somewhere between 10 and 13 wins. And there was a couple times that it got all the way down to the 10 mark. I'm like, I don't know, boys, it's looking like it might be 10 wins, right? And that might not get us in. And then there was a couple times like, hey, boys, we're looking at 13. Tim, your 14 was on the table there a couple times.
Wow. Yeah, sure was.
Man, we might hit 14. Somewhere between 10 and 13. We're sitting at 11. We'll probably finish with 12, but there's a chance they could drop one to the Bears next week. There's no doubt about that. So you're right there in that ballpark.
Yep.
How can you look at it and go, man, we fell right there in that window of wins, right? And then say that LaFleur is trash. Like those two things can't be true at the same time. They just can't. And again, it's Tracy needs a hug, Coach Flynn says. I like Nick McSwain said, I'll have what you're smoking, Tracy. It's just wild because we got to get a soundbite. We got to get a soundbite of a baby crying. And when these fans come in here and they do that, and it's literally the world is ending because the youngest team in the league, who was down 4 starters, lost by 2 points to arguably the best team in the league. They're going to come in and say the head coach is trash. That just blows my mind.
I don't want to pat you on the butt and you poop my hand. So,
and again, this is coming from the guy who said, I completely 110% disagree with Matt LaFleur going for it there on 4th down. You know, so I'm not saying he's perfect. Nobody's saying he's perfect. He made mistakes.
But to say the word trash and
right.
all of that is just that's
if
great.
You said Matt LaFleur had a bad game,
go watch game tape on the New York Giants this year. You want to see
there might have half a dozen teams, man. You really could. But seriously, like if you
can I? Well,
no, Jacob, you go, man.
Get me off the hook.
What's up, Beard?
Hey,
Good morning,
buddies.
Beard.
Hope you guys are doing well. I had a weird day yesterday, man. Unfortunately, one of my best friend's fathers had a heart attack, and so it threw off the whole trajectory of what the day was supposed to look like. We were going to be smoking ribs and all that. That being said, I had to watch it and kind of a distracting factor.
How's he doing, Jake?
It sounds like they caught it real early and that they threw a stent in there and that he should be good to go. He was they had him on some loopy pain meds. He was hitting on the nurses and talking about how they better pull a TV in and let him watch the game and all that. And they said, you probably shouldn't watch the game. And he's like, yeah, you're right. I probably shouldn't.
Definitely wouldn't have been the game to watch.
That immediately makes me think of Major League when they had when the coach had a heart attack. Remember?
Yeah.
He had the radio in, was listening to the game. They had it on an English channel with tea and stuff. And he said,
yeah,
I love this stuff, and I may move to England. Go ahead, Dave.
Yeah, no, he's a great guy, and he's recovering. So, anyways, but I'm just gonna say, man, I'm so done with these Packer fans, and I don't want to. You guys know I usually tiptoe around this. I'm just quit it, stop it. You guys are making us look like absolute chumps. It's embarrassing, and you know what? It's embarrassing to yourself, like you just said. We had some rough. I think I put a post out. I can't remember exactly what I said, but I told you settle down we just lost. Yeah. One of the best teams in the league right now. We played a real rough start of the game in a really rough atmosphere. We came back when it mattered and we really, really came and showed up. And again, there's a ton of stuff that we can say. I don't want to blame the refs, but there's some stuff we can talk about. All right. And, I just think that we need to pump the brakes. In 2010, we lost pretty much to everybody that they said we should lose to, and then made a run. All right. Just to make yourself look so freaking, I just take a step back and remember what it used to be like. I mean, Packer fans are supposed to be the best, most loyal, most faithful fans in the league. That's our whole shtick. And this year I have not seen it. And we're missing Ja, we're missing Christian. And I think other people that now have talked a lot of smack on Christian Watson take a step back and realize we do need him. He has become one of those like difference makers in our offense. When we don't have him on the field, we're not the same kind of team. He's so good at blocking. He's so good at taking the top off the defense. Just chill, man. And yeah, are there plays I wish we could have back? 100%. But at the end of the day, if you want to be a fair weather fan, then go find a different fan base, dude. This isn't the team for you then.
And do yourself a favor too. Mute those people, block those people, man. Protect your freaking brain because it is brain damage. You want to talk about CTE, like. When you get to the point where it's just you can't argue with them. You can't try to speak logic on things. They're emotional. They're going to feel the way they. And what really throws me off is when
it's crap talking every day. That's what it is.
Yeah, it's literally all right. How can I get on social media and just get a ruse out of people? And once you realize that, it don't even matter. When you hit that mute button and you no longer see their tweets or their responses, right?
Yeah,
and they're just talking to a wall. Oh my God!
Now, I almost need to see it to keep myself from under. And I hate saying this again. I'm going to start categorizing them. They're casual fans. They're ESPN fans. That's what they are. That's what I'm going to call them. And I know that's ESPN probably doesn't want that as a diss. That's a diss, dude. If you get your information from ESPN and you trust it, cool. Good for you. You're an idiot.
Heard it from a fan right here.
The filter that I've created to keep those people out of my football life is if the only time I hear from you, it's negative.
Yes.
Then I don't need to hear from you.
Exactly.
It's okay. Hey, we're celebrating here. Oh, man, that was crap. Yeah, I'm with you. It's crap. We can have that conversation. It's cool. But when the only time I hear from you is negative, 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 something goes right for the Packers, silence. Something goes wrong, negative, negative, negative. Can't do it. Can't handle it. Can't take it, man. Sorry. Life's too short. So,
Or make sure that when we get to the promised land and we win it this year, don't you be up there celebrating like you're the first place trophy. I don't want to see you there, dude. I don't want to see you.
Exactly. Yeah. And that's how it always works, too. And that's what I ask people. Hey, this team doesn't have a chance to win the Super Bowl. You guys know I've been very vocal. I don't think this is the year. I personally don't believe this is the year. I hope like hell I'm wrong.
But to say they don't have a chance is taking it a whole step further, right?
I would just love to go back though and watch those same fans in 2010. I bet it was hilarious.
Yeah,
I bet they were. Oh my gosh, beside themselves. But Coach Lynn says, I just hope we can get fully healthy by playoff time. Yeah, and again, Coach, what we talked about, rest over rust over rest, right? Like even if we do get healthy, there's probably going to be some rust involved, right? because these guys are sitting for a couple of weeks. But I'm with you, Coach. If just to get as many starters out there as physically possible would be, in my opinion, the most important thing. And then you go, okay, here's a true, because you don't really get a true measurement on how good this team is, how far along this team is, if everybody's not out there. You're still going, well, if we had them, maybe we would have won that. And you're taking that into consideration with your roster eval going into the offseason, and you might be building a team that's not necessarily ready to play because you didn't get your guys in those big-time moments. Like Bullard yesterday. We all need to consider, me especially, Bullard was probably rusty, right? He'd been sitting for a little bit. But also in the back of my mind, I'm going, Bullard, big-time game, big-time opportunity. He did not check the box. He didn't, in my opinion. Doesn't make him a bad person. Doesn't mean we should cut him. Doesn't mean we should trash him on social media. It just simply means I know that now, right? And he's going to get other opportunities in big moments. But in the meantime, that's a question we have. In my opinion, as we're getting ready to go into the offseason, where I sit right now, if the offseason started right now, I'd be going, we got to think very, very seriously about getting a slot corner. We got to think very seriously. We were thinking seriously about it last year, right? And when we drafted Bullard, everybody on the screen was absolutely jacked up. We were like, hey, that dude can play slot, right?
That was my guy. I'm 100% in charge of the Bullard fandom.
You were the one who uncovered him to us. And boy, let me tell you, the college tape was something. It was something else. So, and that's all you can go off of, right? And then you got to see if they're going to make that transition to the next level. And is this defense as good a fit as what he had in college? And, all those things come into play. So it's going to be a fun offseason too, man. I'm holding out.
Clayton, building a team, not collecting talent, right?
Bingo. That's it, man. That's exactly right. And this is one thing I will say, and we're going to get back to the chat in just a second. Since you said that, building a team and not collecting talent, I want to hit this real quick. I hope we don't get hit with a copyright. I don't think we will. But this here, watching the teams and we see this every time that we play the Vikings. And listen, I'm not saying people will hear this. Some people will hear this and go, I'd rather have Josh Jacobs over Aaron Jones. I would too. Believe me. Josh Jacobs, in my opinion, is a better back today than Aaron Jones is. But the thought that we could have had him for another $1 to $3 million on this roster, all I could think about yesterday too was the Vikings would not have access to him if we had just paid him. Yeah. So, to be honest with you, I think Aaron Jones makes enough of a difference. We probably win those two games that we just lost. Didn't we lose them both by 2 points? Am I thinking right? Probably win that game if Aaron Jones is not on the Vikings. Much even more so if he's on the Packers as that rotational back, right? And again, of course, we're playing, what we call it a Monday morning quarterback in here, right after the fact. But this was cool though to see this exchange. I'm going to crank it up. Hopefully, there's no language. You see, I think is that Carrington Valentine right there?
Yeah, that's Valentine and
look at Romeo,
Rome, Jay Money.
But look at how,
it's the first time I've seen Romeo ever show emotion in his life. Like he smiled. Look at Romeo Dobbs just smiled. Did you guys see that? Capture it. Put it on a freaking milk carton because you're not going to see it again.
Yeah. And there was several times yesterday I seen Aaron Jones helping Packer defenders up.
Yeah.
And I'm going, stop it.
I know.
Because you want guys to be mean. You want them to be aggressive, right? But man, he's just one of the best human beings on the face of the earth.
And it just blasts apart all of that narrative about these toxic fans that have so much hatred, right? Oh, you went to the Vikings. These guys love each other. When you go to war with a guy for any period of time, man, that's your brother, and that doesn't change regardless of if you're traded or you get released or you're assigned somewhere else, whatever. The players don't act that way. I don't know why the fan base chooses to sometimes, because you see the love right there out on the field.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and there was another exchange too. I won't go combing through finding it. I don't know if you've seen it, but Matt LaFleur and KOC were walking
before the game.
So KOC's walking up the mat and he's walking towards him. And evidently, like Aaron Jones is kind of walking parallel to KOC. And it's one of those deals where somebody waves at you and you go, hey, and they're not waving at you. The guy behind you. Like literally Matt walks right by KOC and hugs Aaron Jones. KOC has to walk off. It's hilarious. But, it's cool. You could tell Matt absolutely adores Aaron Jones and likewise too. So, like I said, he'll be back soon enough in the Packers Hall of Fame. And I can't wait to see that. And that'd be a fun induction to attend or try to at least get in town for, you know. Yeah. So, Blake B, I can't hate that guy. He's a Packers for life. Amen. Let's go back to the chat from earlier. Randy Cleaver's health is becoming a concern. You know, but here's the thing, Randy, it is for everyone, right? I'm with you. It seems like it's starting to pile up on us a little bit here at the end of the year, but I also feel like, don't you feel like we've been somewhat blessed this year? Do y'all feel like we've stayed somewhat healthy?
Overall, yeah. I would agree with that, right? I mean, we haven't seen anybody, you know, lost for the year. I guess the biggest, you know, injury bug was Marshawn Lloyd, right? I mean, that was the whole up and down.
Musgrave,
Musgrave. There's another one. You know, we just got him back though, so that's
we got
good.
Quay, but I mean, honestly.
But I meant like the whole, like, you know, season ending, you just know he's done kind of thing. We've pretty much avoided that for the most part, other than the whole, you know, Jair thing, which, you know, hopefully we'll see next couple of weeks if we get him back. But I would agree with Randy. It's becoming a concern, but I think you're right, Clay. I mean, everybody's dealing with injuries. You want to be as close to your version of 100% as you can be this time of year, because everybody's banged up right now. You play 17 football games for crying out loud, you know.
Did we make a switch with the personal trainer or something like that? Or because Omar brings up a good point. He goes, this team's been very lucky with injuries this season as compared to the last 5 for darn sure.
Yep.
And
that was a big talking point. It was this offseason.
I think we talked about it quite a bit, and we're like, something's not going on here. Like, you know. And then I remember, isn't that the same guy that when he got hired, everybody tore their pec, and we're like, oh no.
Right.
I don't know. I'm not a doctor.
Went from the hammy to the
It started with Coach LaFleur, right?
Right, it did. Yeah. And then it was Tucker Kraft and Zach Tom.
That's right.
Both popped their pec, both on, they said, the last rep of their bench press.
Jacked up in that gym, man.
Tracy in the chat says Packers are pure trash. We hit that one, didn't we?
We hit that one. Get that crap. Get out of here.
Sit your butt outside.
We're not kicking them out of the chat. We want to be clear. We're just saying where you get the chat off screen. Let's see here. Nick says, I believe in the team regardless. They've been on fire lately. They just had a bad game. And with a bad game on the road against one of the best teams in the league, you lost by 2. Right. Pretty wild. Coach Lynn, I still believe in this team if we are fully healthy. Yeah, and it's a big if, right? I don't think we will be fully healthy for the playoffs. We'll get healthier, I think. But you're right, Coach. It's the youngest team in the league, and when everybody's healthy, you feel like you could go back. You could go toe to toe with anyone. You really could, man. Again, I'm feeling like next year, and that's why I want a true evaluation through, you know, whether it's one playoff game, 2, or we win the whole damn thing. I want a true evaluation of the team going, all right, where are these guys at, especially in big game moments, so we know exactly what we need in the offseason to try to take that next step and put ourselves up there with Detroit, Minnesota, and Kansas City, if indeed we are one notch below them right now. It kind of feels like we are. So
I would agree with that.
I agree there, Coach. J. Cole, I heard there was swelling in Ja's knee. I did not hear that, Jay, but obviously something's going on. You know,
My knee.
The perk name. Somebody drew a comparison of the David Bakhtiari situation. And, you know, I hadn't thought about it, but think of how everything transpired with David Bakhtiari and look at how this is happening with Ja. Does this not feel exactly the same? Like, am I thinking too much into this? Remember how David Bakhtiari, it was, he's going to be back any second. He's going to be back any second. And it just never happened.
The only difference is Jair hasn't had 357 surgeries.
Yeah, I was going to say, I would say that maybe because of what they saw with Bach, they're like, we're not doing that again to Ja. And maybe they're just now this extending.
Could be. Him
resting is like, we don't want to force him. Because I think that if you had to actually get an honest answer from whoever, would it be the doctors, the front office, whatever it was, they're like, we forced him back too early. They must have not. They're taking out like 20 cc's of blood from that dude's knee every other freaking day. They probably knew that, like, I don't know. You know, I'm not a doctor. You know that. All right. Everybody here knows. Nice.
I just imagine going in and you got the lab coat buttoned all the way down to the navel. We got the test hat showing. Yeah, all right, let me tell you what's wrong with your life.
Take your pants off. I'm not here for that. Just take them off.
Oh gosh!
And the show officially sucks at the 35 minute mark. All right, let's see here. Holmes in the chat. Those of us who know Jacob are here with you guys. That's why what you do is so awesome. Appreciate that, Holmes. Let's see here. Packers for life. Jordan Love, 1 step forward, 2 steps back is what he's saying. Listen, Jordan didn't have a good game yesterday. I personally think he had a bad game. I think he missed some throws, but also you got to take into consideration the game plan, looking at the routes, looking at how we tried to attack this defense. They brung pressure, and we tried to set up passing concepts to take shots. And if there was an underneath, they did a good job of knowing exactly where that was at. With that being said, though, Jordan taking that sack there in the I think it was the second half. I've got it charted. I won't go back through it, but he took a real tough sack there, where it was in the fourth quarter, right outside of the 2-minute warning, if I remember correctly. You can't take that sack, so he's still making mistakes with that, obviously. But it's just crazy going into this game. You guys remember he was sacked at a historically low rate, the lowest rate in NFL history. You could look at that one of two ways. You can say, okay, this is a fluke, or hey, he was due, right? I personally think this is one of those games they'll look back on and go, yeah, that was just a fluke. Jordan is really good at avoiding sacks. And the reason that's important at avoiding sacks is the yardage that you lose, right? And if I remember correctly, on that specific play, when he took that sack, it really kind of put him behind the 8 ball on that drive. It might have been a first down, if I remember correctly. But first down sacks are drive killers. There's no two ways about it. No two ways about it.
So is getting pressured constantly and not going to a screen game and not dealing with, not calling plays to help your offense deal with that pressure. That's kind of what killed us too a little bit, I think.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely. It's funny too, in my notes, you'll appreciate this one, Jacob. You and I, we have the humor of a 13-year-old. I put huge sack. And then I put, whoa, and I marked it up and put bad sack. You can see where I erased it and put bad sack. Don't say huge sack on the air. Here we are saying huge sack because this show sucks. Biz 1987. Well said, Jacob. I'm going to be upset and critique, but the fact is we are close to being special. We barely lose to the elite, and we can pinpoint what went wrong. We can fix it. And that's a great point, Biz. Like, there's been sometimes you go, I don't even know where to start, right?
Yep.
On football teams in the past.
Dude,
this one was like, yeah. Go ahead, Jake.
I'm just saying, Packers for life. Your name is literally Packers for life. What do you like? I feel like there's a contradiction.
That's Omer's burner. We all know it.
And I know. And again, I'm not literally calling you. I'm not saying you need to stop. I'm just saying, like, chill out, dude. Like, he's one of the most winningest coaches in the first 5 seasons of the history of the NFL.
But he's not close, Jacob.
Really,
he's got
really
one of the
good
best
teams,
records in December. What are you talking about?
Matt LaFleur admitted he choked. Okay, I understand that. But the thing is, as a Packer, if you are a Packer fan for life, in fact, I think you need to take a step back and be like, dude, mistakes happen. Look at the 2010 team. If you were to sit there and critique them the whole time, and then you get to celebrate the Super Bowl, you're not like, what does a fan mean? What does that mean, being a fan? It's not just when they're winning. It's when you make mistakes. It's when you're thick. Like, you got to be there, man.
Yeah. And again, Jacob, this is what we talked about, man. Don't let it do it. Don't let them do it to you. I'm telling you, they're out there by the droves. Omer in the chat, they lost 5 close games to the best teams in football, and people are looking at that like it's a bad thing. I don't understand that stance. The youngest team in the league, and you're going, yeah, but they've lost to the good team.
Yeah, and guess what? We're going to play those good teams again in the playoffs. And you know what? All you got to do is beat them once. This Packers team could go in and get some wins and go on a tear, just like any other team that's in. We talked about that last night. I think Emilio had a great point. He said, it's really hard to beat a team twice in the NFL, right? And it's happened to us a couple of times, right? We lost to Detroit twice. We lost to Minnesota twice. Well, guess what? Third time's a charm, baby. I feel like we can steal the win in the postseason and ruin their year while increasing the likelihood of us going and bringing Lombardi home. You guys have to believe in the possibility of those things happening. Otherwise, like Jacob's saying, what are you fanning for? Try to be excited about your team that's in the playoffs for the second year in a row, with the youngest roster in the league. And yeah, they don't look perfect. They don't look like Belichick's Patriots, right? It doesn't look like I understand this is a work in progress. Hey, why don't you go back to Bill's first couple of years in New England and see how those teams look before the dynasty started happening. You're building a team, not collecting talent. I'm fired up for the fact that we can get hot and possibly go on a run here. All you got to do is beat a team one time. And nobody gives, excuse my language, nobody gives a rat's ass about the regular season the instant the playoffs start. Nobody cares. Nobody cares about your record or who you beat or who you didn't beat during the year. Get to the playoffs. It's the real season. It starts. We're in the mix. Let's get fired up and be excited, guys. Don't let another close loss to a tough team ruin your excitement for this young Packers team. That's all I'll say. I'm done. I'm off my soapbox.
Omer in the chat says Cooper is a stud. That man going to be the best player this team drafted in years. I could not agree more, Omer. And I was thinking today when I was breaking down the tape and stuff, I'm looking at these 4 tackles for a loss. I'm like, man, and immediately I went, but you got to curb the enthusiasm, Clayton, because he could take a step back next year. And if he does, that doesn't mean he's a bad player all of a sudden, right? Players do that. They fluctuate, and it's it's this constant up and to the right, but you're going to have some dips on your way to the up and to the right. Mm-hmm. But man, right now it's like I don't see it. And the way he plays, it doesn't feel like he plays out of control. Like, oh man, he's going to get hurt. You know what I mean? Like it feels like he is completely under control. You can tell he takes really good care of his body. It's just like he looks like a dude that is going to play in the league for a long time. I have not seen a backer. And listen, I loved A.J. Hawk. I remember being on the old message boards before Twitter, going to bat for A.J. Hawk. People, he's too slow. And I would post a clip of him running down Adrian Peterson from one sideline all the way to the other. Like, oh, he's slow, but he chased down Adrian Peterson. And then seeing him kind of eat blocks in that 34 defense when they would ask him to get up in there and play on the line of scrimmage from time to time. I was a big A.J. stan. Edgerrin Cooper is like no other linebacker we've seen on the Packers. And it's early, I get it. He could end up being garbage from here on out. That's a possibility. You need to know that.
No,
but this dude, I have never seen a Packers linebacker since I've been a fan play like this. And I know there's we got a lot of people that were Packer fans, from some from the Lombardi years, believe it or not. I get emails from people that were fans during the Lombardi years. They were young kids, all the way through, the 60s, 70s, 80s, the 90s, the early 2000s, the 2010s, and today. I can't think of one since Lombardi's Ray Nitschke. Who's the better inside linebacker that got off to this kind of start since Ray Nitschke?
I don't know any.
And again, it's early. There's going to be people going, Clayton, you're talking about a Pro Football Hall of Famer, and this dude hasn't played a full season. I agree with you. I got to agree with you. But, man, based off what we've seen, it's interesting. It's just I've never seen one in a Packers uniform.
Right,
and that includes
Packers for life. We can agree on this. Cooper is an absolutely freaking nature. All right.
We don't agree on everything, but we can agree on this.
No, I mean, honestly, that's great news. I'm excited. Everybody needs to understand, like, that dude he's different. He is just different. And it takes, again, a fan base like Green Bay where, linebackers, we've had either great ones back in the 60s. I was not alive back then, so I can't attest to that. But what would you compare as the most even Nick Barnett or like
this one right here was the one I was thinking, and I didn't watch him play.
Johnny Holland. Yeah, I got him back here. Yeah. I got a signed autograph from him.
Yeah.
And people don't even remember him.
Right. And I had a comment marked and I've already lost it. It said Carrington Valentine with another interception. I think it was Omer said it. Yeah. Listen, man, Carrington is every week, boys. Every week it's like he's up in this game. And again, the blown coverages and stuff yesterday, I see 2 people get somewhat cooked yesterday. It was Javon Bullard and it was Keyshawn Nixon. And Keyshawn Nixon wasn't like, man, he's getting cooked over the top. That one play, hell of a play, getting back, playing the ball. He's so instinctive. He's a football player. Some guys just get it. You can be physical freak and not get it. That dude gets it when it comes to just playing football. He just breaking on the ball and perfect timing, body control, all that stuff. When he got cooked, what I noticed was him playing leverage within his scheme and them just making a good dig call, and he was the closest one there. The pass interference call, It was pass interference. Don't get me wrong, but is it no longer a thing that if the ball isn't catchable, it's not pass interference? I guess it's not. I haven't seen that.
I guess it is whenever they feel like it is. It depends on what day it is.
And it was pass interference. Don't get me wrong, but I haven't. The reason I asked that, and maybe somebody could help me in the chat. Maybe there was a rule change. I haven't seen the officials call that in a long time, where they say, the ball was uncatchable. You know what I mean? It used to get mentioned all the time on the mic, and I haven't heard it in a while. So I was curious on that. Carl K in the chat says, study, fix, win. Amen to that, buddy. Amen. You got to learn from it. And with that being said, that's going to do it for hour 1. For those of you listening on the pod, we'll see you on the other side for hour 2. We appreciate y'all.